This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
We have Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation joining us here as Sam Pittman is, I don't know if he's concluded his press conference or not. Mike's he still up there?
As far as I know, but it usually goes about 30 minutes, so it should be a little bit longer. So far, he's talked about Armstrong, thinks he'll be back, thinks he'll practice today, thinks he's fine. That's good news. Talked a lot about Nudie being back and the difference he made. Certainly good to have him back. But he'd already revealed that Arkansas's lost yet another tight end, a productive tight end in the passing game, both of them with broken clavicles, so that's not good news. But, you know, there's a reason to be optimistic, if even for a few days. The thing that's amazed me, guys, is how some people are so bent on getting rid of Sam Pittman that they can't even enjoy this win. And they're making statements like the offensive line was terrible. Really? Then how did how did he get named the SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week? Not co-offensive lineman. He was it. How did he do that? Well, he did that because this team, which had been averaging 109 yards rushing this season, had more than double that. And you had two guys. One went over 100 yards. That's the first time Arkansas has had a 100-yard rusher. Rocket did that, and then KJ almost did. So, you know, and then somebody tried to tell me, well, they were just making their own yardage. They were just running over people. You got to go back and look at the video if you're that dumb. Really, guys, if you go back and one guy's telling me, well, KJ just ran over that guy and knocked him 10 yards backward. He did that 10, 15 yards down the field. If you look at that play, there was a hole he ran through just to the right of Limmer. So, come on. Rocket he got past the line of scrimmage because he ran through holes that were generated. So all of that surprised me. I felt like with Guyton you'd get maybe some changes with the pass routes and maybe some more quick opening passes downfield a little bit maybe, but I didn't see this kind of improvement to the run game. And I don't know if it can continue, but if you can't sit back and enjoy that even for a few days, you might as well just forget it and go on to basketball because, you know, they're still playing football and there's still some things that could be fun if they continue to play this way.
Mike, I'm with you. I thought it was the offensive line's best game. Yeah, they got beat at times, but it happens. KJ made some bad throws. AJ Green fumbled a ball, whatever. But what did happen was, and I wanted to see what your biggest takeaway was. My biggest takeaway, Mike, was we had 4 explosive plays on offense. I can't remember the last game. It might have been week 1 or 2 since we've had 4 explosive plays on offense.
Yeah, that was nice to see, and it just sort of came out of nowhere, late third quarter, fourth quarter. And look, they came back and took the lead. The offense gave them the lead with 4.5 to go. The defense was gashed. 3 plays, Florida goes right down and scores. Offense comes back, kicks a field goal. Defense almost gave up a game-winning field goal. Florida missed it. But the thing I liked was in overtime, here's what happened. Arkansas wins the toss. Defense goes out first. They didn't mess around. They forced a field goal. Offense comes out there. First play, first down, penalty, back up. Second play, first down. Third play, first down. Fourth play, touchdown. Boom, boom, boom. And the same thing with the offense. So they were on the same page in what really mattered, which was the overtime period. And if they can just kind of do that from here on out, who knows what they can do, because that is what's been missing. One side plays well and the other doesn't. When you play together, offense and defense, and you do it in a no-nonsense manner like that, to me, they just decided in overtime, we're winning this game. We're not going to mess around here. Boom, boom, boom. We win.
What about the idea that you were able to generate all this offense and especially the rushing yards the way that they did while changing up your tackles during the game? You know, and one for I think just not playing well in Chambly's case, and the other with Kudus getting an injury. I mean, we've been kind of waiting on Devin Manuel. I think the coaching staff has been waiting on Devin Manuel to be right physically. Maybe what we saw from him against the Gators is exactly what they hoped they would see. And Tykees Crawford, like, that felt like that was 3 years in the making. Like, you've been waiting for him to develop in the kind of player that I think the recruiting services and the coaching staff expected he would be. And I don't think you win the game without Crawford playing as well as he did.
Sure. And you got people saying, well, they did it against a bad team. They weren't a bad team at home. They were unbeaten at home. They were giving up an average of 11 points a game at home. That includes the Tennessee game in the Swamp, in which they won handily. Tennessee's not just some rummy team. And Arkansas just went out there, and I read somebody else saying, well, it doesn't matter where they won. Oh, really? It doesn't matter that you were in the Swamp, a place where you've never won, ever? That just throw that out the window? So, again, what you're getting is people that want this guy to be fired, and so they got to change the narrative. They've got to try to convince everybody else that none of that stuff really mattered. And I don't know where they head from here. But, again, guys, you got to be able to – I just don't know why you would be a fan if you couldn't enjoy a game like that for a few days, as opposed to already being back out on the offensive and saying the game didn't matter where you played it, the offensive line didn't really play well, the team you played was no good, all this stuff, which is nonsense.
Big win for a lot of reasons, Mike. I do want to get your thoughts on a couple of the plays. Maybe you can explain what happened there with Florida on the field goal try. I thought that if a team goes into sub, the referee has to stand there by the center and don't let it snap. And I thought the officials messed up by getting out of the way and then letting them try to run the play.
Yeah, theoretically then, because they screwed up and substitute, that was their mistake because they're running out of time. And once they sub, then you have to allow the other team to sub, and theoretically that should have run the clock out. It didn't, and so we could have had a huge controversy. That's why Pittman was going ape, during that period of time. But I got a nephew that's a really good high school football coach in New Mexico. He's won like 5 state championships. And I was talking to him about this one time, and he said, we get screwed all the time. He said, in high school, the refs are horrible. But he said, the bottom line, you just have to overcome it. You got to figure out, well, sometimes you can't. If it's right there at the end of a game, there's no way. But thankfully, it didn't come down to that because maybe karma or something, because he missed the field goal. So you'll take what you can get.
Mike, I want one more question. With Kenny Guyton, this Kenny G offense, if we're to go, and I know we got to take it one game at a time, but let's say we beat Auburn, beat Florida International, and we defend home field and beat Missouri, go 4-0. Would you say KJ and Kenny both back at Arkansas next year?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about KJ. I really don't. Who knows what's in his head? But I think people are asking, does Guyton have this job right now? Well, Pittman sort of answered that today when he indicated, well, we've talked about him being a candidate, but, we'll have to talk more. And he said candidate. So I don't know what that means. To me, he's more than a candidate. I mean, I don't know how if they continue to play this way offensively and the play calling continues to be more creative like this, and the players, the way they were, he looked like Musselman running around in that locker room after the game with his shirt off and everybody going bonkers. I don't know how you look at those players and tell them, well, we liked what he did, but I'm bringing in another guy. We've just seen a classic example of how who you are as a coach, no matter your technical expertise or anything else you're doing, who you are as a coach matters to players. And if they don't respond to you, that's not good. So if you've got a guy that they love and want to play for, I don't know how you say, well, yeah, he did a good job, but I just decided to go with this other guy.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, part of it is scheme. Part of it is, I think, in Dan Enos's, on his end, some stubbornness. On Sam Pittman's end, maybe not enough assertiveness with the previous assistant coach on play calling. If you didn't like the plays that were being called, well, it's still your team. But then there is the other idea of the belief and just the way that a person connects with another person when you work for them or view that person as a mentor. And it was pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. I mean, we talked with KJ about it almost 2 weeks before the first game. And just from his answers, it sounded like they were looking forward to the change. And it was somebody that he already got along with, and that's got to count for something. The play calling is one thing, putting into play what you're practicing on is another thing, but there's a connection. I think that was pretty obvious between between the players and Coach Guyton. And that's not just because of what happened after the game with him crowd surfing in the locker room. That's the result of the connection that I think we saw.
Yeah, and I think I'd love to be able to sit down and talk with Sam Pittman about the offensive line in that game, because Matt's right. They weren't consistent all through the game. There were times when it did look bad, but something clicked there late third quarter, all through the fourth quarter. And I like his view on what happened out there. But I got to believe a part of it is those guys said to themselves, we're playing for the right guy now. Let's go out and win this game. It's a team sport. You're winning it for yourself, but you're winning it for your teammates. You're winning it for your coaches. Fans sit and watch, and they want to be happy. But, if you've ever been on a team, even a team that loses, you can understand how you can have a record like this and still get tremendous satisfaction out of winning a game like this, and how playing for the right coach motivates you, maybe even if he doesn't directly impact what you're doing. He's not an O-line coach, but I can't believe that he didn't play a part. His presence didn't play a part on why the offensive line blocked better.
Yeah, how you prepare all week, the enthusiasm showing up to work every day, Mike. If you have a boss you don't really like, but you kind of got to go to work. But then when you have somebody you like, how you're just a little more excited to be there. And I think you felt some of that. And I love the adjustments they made. They started 1 for 6 on third down and finished the game 7 of 12 on third down.
Yeah, the adjustment part was impressive because that's the part. That's when you get down to the nitty gritty. When he's never done that before, then that's going in. I wasn't sure about stuff like that. Okay, you can script some plays. So they came right out of the gate, and that first offensive drive looked amazing, and you're going, wow, this is really cool. But you can't script the whole game, and things happen during the game, and you got to adjust. And that's a very important point. How they adjusted, especially late, decided that game. And how about the play calling in those three? It was really 4 plays in overtime, because the first play, they made a first down and got penalized, so you have to back up. But it was just like boom, 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 run, pass. And not run, oh, whoops, now it's third down, what do we do? None of that. It took all the drama out of it. It just bam. And that's the part I liked.
What do you think? What do you think you see out of Auburn this weekend? Their offense has really started to get going. Freeze has settled. Well, I don't think it's settled on a quarterback. Peyton Thorne won the job, and he's playing well enough that they don't need another guy to come in and just run the ball, because he's running the RPO very well. Everybody is afraid of Auburn because it's Hugh Freeze, and that's for good reason. He's already got a win over Coach Pittman with a lesser program last year. You got to keep winning too, Mike, to keep the season going. Auburn is they're no pushover.
I stayed up late, too late really, last night watching the replay of that game with Vanderbilt. And here's the thing. Their passing game is getting better. It's still not real good, but they can flat run the ball. But that's playing into Arkansas' strength, the strength of Arkansas's defense. They still made some mistakes throwing the ball, had a pick, had the receivers dropped too many passes at Auburn. That's been hurting them.
Mike,
the thing that's solid about them is their defense. That defense is good. I'm telling you, they got a good defense.
Mike, get your thoughts on the basketball season opening tonight.
Yeah, Muss wins an Academy Award for trying to convince us that Alcorn State is really, really good. I know these days with the portal, teams can change from one year to the next, but you're talking about a team that lost to Tennessee by 54 points last year. So I think we'll get a blowout. But you want to see Jalen Graham supposedly going to play. We're told, I'm looking at to see if his defense is better, because that's what they've been working on. I think Mekhi Mitchell can play a better game than we saw him play against Purdue. He wasn't terrible, but I think he can be better. Want to see Brazil continuing to look good. Want to see the point guards continue to distribute the ball but also score. Want to see that defense continue to be what it was. Muss's teams that are heavily made up of transfers, usually it's taken them sometimes into SEC play to get the defense kind of going on the same page. And, I mean, they're already there. So you just want to see a confirmation of that tonight and then moving forward.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.